Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Victoria 3, and this is episode number 5. Ashanti. This is our second episode here since switching to, well, already our second playthrough, but I knew that first one was going to be fast, and this one's fast too, just not as fast, hopefully. But with Western interests all over us, you never know. It actually could go quite fast. For one thing, the Danish Togo area, it does appear that they are starting to actually bother colonizing. So Denmark growing. Uh, British influence, they want to conquer us. They want to be domineering towards us. The Dutch seem fairly uninterested. They do have a positive attitude, but it's that domineering attitude that's a problem. You see prospecting unlocked. I don't think that's going to unlock anything for us, but we'll check if it does as we go through. We have our food industry ready in 15 weeks. So we're just starting to get into that second phase of kickstarting the economy, right? Stage one was just get raw resources, employ people, and have things be on the market. Second thing is to actually start producing goods. And that should raise the people up. By the way, we are at 9.7 now. What did we start at? 8. So we've gotten there pretty quick in just 12 years. But we are now into 1848. This is the year that our white peace with Dahomey will end, our peace treaty there, and we will have our potential for a third event. But in the meantime, yeah, relations are not good with Great Britain. They don't care for us. So we're trying to see what we can do about keeping them out by actually, this time around, maybe getting them cordial. France, meanwhile, are cautious towards us. So that's another one that we are probably want to go say hello to and improve those relations. So let's see if we can't, get them on our side. But then the U.S. is also getting involved here. Now, historically, this is actually expected. So for the United States, those vaguely familiar probably aren't going to recall it, as we have another play going on right now. So the U.S. trying to conquer another territory. For those unfamiliar, you have triangle trade. That is a very familiar historical concept, but we have kind of the reverse triangle trade that happened for a short period of time, and this is when that happened. Prior to the American Civil War, there was an attempt at an exodus, at expelling slaves out of the United States back to Africa, and it was Ivory Coast, Liberia, essentially, is where this happened, and it was a bit of a political move of, gosh, you want to free the slaves? Well, why don't we just send them home? They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be part of our country. Blah, blah, blah. All wholly negative idea, concept. But it was the half-hearted attempt at just send them home kind of thing. But not home. Just send them to this one little area. And so some American politicians got involved. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but got involved and tried to kind of push and make that happen. And here is that American play now on Senegal. Before I figure out what I'm going to construct next, I wanted to kind of see our brand new food industry and what happens. Employment level is starting fairly low. We certainly have the grain for it. So we are producing groceries, but I'm assuming that this is low demand up front. So right now, Great Britain is actually improving relations with us. So it's happening, you can see it's improving very quickly. We are both improving relations at the moment. This is a good thing. A very, very good thing. I'm going to hold off until we can get a positive relation and hopefully get cordial to have another chance at Dahomey. I don't mind waiting a little while. We've waited this long. I'd rather not see a third white peace as we have to back down yet again as Great Britain gets involved and then they get mad at us, another time. Let's see if we can make nice and go from there. And the U.S. is now bankrolling us. Right now, nothing doing, but over time, it could cause us to owe them a favor. I certainly don't mind. Look at that big increase that we have. And Great Britain is starting a diplomatic play for the Dutch East Indies. That could be a pretty influential move right there, and could maybe, keep them busy and give us an opportunity. But we've got to get up to a 20 on the relations. And at the moment, it looks like we've gone back to normal speed. So I'm assuming I missed something where they stopped improving relations with us. All right, they have started once again, so it's happening a second time as we unlock colonization. But that's only the first phase. There's a lot more to do with it. So the only group that is interested in colonial affairs is the armed forces. It's not hurting our legitimacy to add them into the government. So we're going to go ahead and reform the government and see if we can't make a play to get that passed. All right, so our next law change is underway. This one could take a while as we're at just 13% initially. Advance debate is the most likely right now, so this could be tricky. But with 0% on stall, we should likely see at least improvement, and then we'll probably have to colonize up to this empty mess up here. Kong possibly, but with France and the U.S. kind of flying through there, we got to be careful. You can see how quickly the U.S. is expanding their territorial hold on this area. We've nearly got France to a 20. That's going to be good. Nearly done on that initial project of raw resources on the market, and then kind of going from there. I don't think we are getting bankrolled by the U.S. anymore. However, we still have a healthy balance. France is now cordial, and we're at a 9 with Great Britain. Like I said, they keep going back and forth between committing also to improved relations and decommitting from it. So we get little boosts, and then the boost ends, and then we get the boost again, and then the boost ends. But either way, we are at an 11. It's getting closer to that ground where we might actually like each other, and they may stay out of it when we make our next attempt on Dahomey. So we're getting close. Ethics of exploitation. By the way, that was our first phase here, and now there's actually a chance for it to stall. Colonial resettlement is morally correct. We have a 60% chance to gain either 10 or 20%. 10% chance of losing. We had the same last time. I like the 75% chance of gaining something at all. Uh-oh. I think we just had the 0%. I think we had the negative. The 25% chance, because it dropped to 0. It dropped to 0, so we ended up with the negative. I took the better odds of having a positive outcome, 75% chance instead of 60, and we still ended up getting that 25% chance. Proposal for a defensive pact with Liberia. I'm going to decline. I think Liberia is more vulnerable than we are, though the United States is now sharing a border. So we are sharing a border with the United States as well. So we will switch from France to the U.S. before long on improving relations. We're up to a 16 now with Great Britain. By the way, we are in the midst of radicalizing some individuals in the country, the rural folk, and some industrialists who don't want us to colonize. Another phase, colonial enthusiasm. Plus 20%, that's nice. Plus 50% colonial growth speed would be nice, but it's going to take us more than 2 years to pass this. Therefore, that's not useful. Let's take the 20%. That's a huge difference. In fact, we went from a negative to 14% essentially. So we had a 6% negative after that previous one. And we are now cordial with Great Britain. My oh my. What about the US though? They're protective towards us. So they have a positive attitude. Everybody has a positive attitude. But it says the British attitude towards us is now cautious. Okay, things have changed. Can we finally make a play on Dahomey successfully? First off, their army projection has grown. It is a 20 now. Where ours hasn't really changed. It's gone about a +2. We've gone from a 36 to a 38. I think that's just more conscripts available to us. So they have made their military a little bit stronger than what it was, but we still have a significant advantage over Dahomey. Oh, we also have our ally who would join us, and Great Britain, Netherlands may still intervene. Let's hope they choose not to. Right now, we do have the support of Segu. Currently, they have no one supporting, but they have this long phase for others to decide. Now, we've seen previously that Dahomey was able to sway Great Britain, not once but twice. For us, there is no outcome where we can sway anyone, so we're not going to try, as that seems to be a fruitless activity. But we're going to wait a little bit before we start to mobilize. They're up to 7. We're at 7 already, and that's why I'm not as worried. Okay, we're down to neutral, by the way, with Great Britain, so we immediately took a -5. Okay, so the moment I click mobilize, instantly Great Britain is swayed. Now, is this because we're not cordial with them anymore? As in, we're going to need a 25+ in the future? Backing down. Okay. Is it because we did go to the extent of mobilizing? That was the trigger point. So if we wait on mobilizing till late, till after it's too late for them, that could be something. So I want to make sure that A, we're 25+ in the future. B, wait to mobilize till the last minute. Kind of a negative outcome on that one that we had I think we had a debate, or essentially a debate. Somebody wanted to slow down the process and spend more time talking about it versus losing some interest group. And I'm afraid of offending our interest groups, unlike before, where I was pretty confident about pushing. Well, regardless of outcome, we've already pushed Great Britain to that 25+ for now. Okay, rousing speech. This is a good thing. Yes, enactment success chance +15. Or we can get a big boost to the armed forces group and a 10% increase. You know what? I'm going to take that for now. This isn't just about getting this passed. This is about those interest groups. So we're up to 34% chance now. And advance at 18%. Debate is still high at 37.5%, and it still has a decent chance of stalling at 10%. So we may not get colonial resettlement at all. And at this rate, the U.S. is going to conquer all of Mossy before we even pass the law, and therefore not actually have anything we can really do with it. By the way, the UK has quickly swept in and colonized this area after Denmark got just that one additional. So the UK now surrounds us on two sides, but that finishes colonization here, colonization here, and you can see how the US is starting to rapidly push into Mossy. Yeah, this may not happen at all. Yeah, making friends with these guys is important. We're one of the only ones that's going to be left around here before long. Be nice to get into Mossy because there's so much up here. Even if it's terrible terrain, it's still better than nothing. And what we have is nothing, and we can't even expand into Dahomey, and we certainly can't beat the European or Western powers that surround us. Okay, we did get another event where with their support, the bill shall pass. Okay, we're up to a 50% chance of passing now. Those odds are getting better and better. Especially the debate is really falling off. That's where that 15% came from. We're finally getting in on the dye plantation. I don't know how profitable that one might be, but we're going to have to watch out on the economy side of things, as you know, our balance is only slightly positive as we are kind of introducing the last couple of things. We have a cotton plantation coming in next till we have at least one of everything. But you can see like our livestock ranch could easily be expanded upon. The millet farms, the tobacco plantations are all doing very well. The logging camp is doing very well. Okay, roughly 50% chance. Will it pass? It still does not pass. In fact, opposition members put forth demands. 5-year, -3 approval. That's not bad. Guess we'll take it. We're up to a 65% chance. It should probably pass this time. And the UK is going after the Danish Togo. They are trying to unite their area here. So if it doesn't pass this time, there's a very good chance that by next time around, the US will have begun colonization throughout. We're going to have to kind of take right to the edge, and that's our only chance. It didn't pass. It still didn't pass. It advanced. We're up to a 75% chance. Debate's at 0 now. Advance is at 16%, and stall is just 9%. But wow, I can't believe that we still have not had anything. I think the next manufacturer to get into is furniture, as furniture seems to be a good hot commodity. Paper is also going to be one we want to get into here fairly early on, and we are going to want to get a government administration building, as we are, bureaucracy-wise, starting to get a little bit on the low side. We've maxed out relations with the U.S. Britain is getting very close. France definitely likes us. The Netherlands like us, and even though Denmark likes us, they look like they're not going to be in the area. And there it is. We now have colonial resettlement. All right, so we have begun colonizing the mossy area above us. You can see the U.S., it's only taken them about 40 days to colonize a region, where right now it's taking us 5,000. The malaria effect not yet gone, as we haven't gotten to quinine just yet. So we do get 1 territory right away. For it, we have 6 arable land. Could have logging camps at some stage, but do not now. And it's very similar to what we have down here. I think maybe one of the best things to start with is probably like a livestock ranch. Okay, one very notable thing that we're going to have to be really careful of, unemployment is now at 0. So we have no unemployed people. Gainfully employed, 166,000, 164,000 peasants, and then the rest are dependents. So without unemployment being anything, and pop growth is actually negative, we're going to want to work on tech here as soon as possible to see if we can't improve our population base. And I think a lot of that's going to come through standard of living, literacy up to 25%. We hit 1 million, by the way, so first time GDP is at 1 million. The furniture manufacturing has just finished. It's up to 2,000 employed individuals and is producing well. It's making money. Though somehow we, for the first time in a while, have a negative balance. as I'm assuming as they're employing people, other places are getting a little lower on the employment side. Maybe not though. Maybe the dependents are joining the workforce, fully employed. That's nice. Looks like we need to produce more grain to keep up with the demand we have for it. So that's probably a good place to go next. Oh, see, we've been pushed. The U.S. has nearly pushed us out of colonization completely already. So our famine is in our colony, which has a very small population anyway, so this is really not helping them. But also not helping them is the fact that the U.S. nearly has the entire region colonized, and we're going to get bumped out of it as soon as as soon as this chunk of colony has been taken. In which case, we'll just try to incorporate the small colony we have. All right, so the U.S. have blocked us out of colonization now, as they're going to sweep in and get the last of it here, which means we can actually now shift Ashanti Volta, even though it's only one small area. We can spend our 5 years and get it incorporated, which will take any penalties away. It's a very small additional province for us, but at least it is a little bit more, and it will continue to grow somewhat in size over time. Before our balance slowly drains the economy, we're going to go ahead and add a consumption tax for services, which will easily get us to a very healthy balance yet again. And we just unlocked pharmaceuticals. This was on our way to the quinine. It does at least have some options that may help us lower mortality a bit, as we do technically have a population that is shrinking. We want to get that growing for long-term sake. So we are going to try to see what we can do in a positive manner. In the short term, though, I do want to try to get into production and see, what sort of options. Let's get a couple cheap ones out of the way. The U.S. is giving donations to help with that famine that we have. Let's take it. The U.S. completed their play, so they now have the entirety of the territory other than our small little province. You can see just how much of West Africa is now under the control of the U.S. It's a lot. That is a lot. And Great Britain still didn't take this Danish territory, so looks like they kind of backed off on it. But now the Netherlands now are seeing us. We are cordial. Let's try to bump that up, but yeah, they have decided that they are now dominating towards us. It may be time to try Dahomey again, actually, with some pretty positive relations all around us. All right, so in the grand scheme of trying to conquer Dahomey for, the umpteenth time, aka the fourth time, it's still just Dahomey that would be the enemy, but there's many neutral ones. Great Britain, Russia now, France, Denmark, Netherlands, all joining the fray. But like I said, waiting till the last possible minute to mobilize could help us out with this one on avoiding others getting involved. But having that cordial relationship, especially with Great Britain, it's much higher than the 25 now. What I do worry about is suddenly the Netherlands don't like us. Let's check in on how and why they don't like us and what we can do. Oh, it's at 28. It's at 28. That's not bad. You know what? Let's do it. Let's go. I think we've got a 25 plus with all of our neighbors. Okay, somebody has joined them, and it's Great Britain, without mobilizing Great Britain. So I don't know what it is about Great Britain that has them, well, now they absolutely hate us. Now they're antagonistic. Minus 975 on the relations, but they go from liking us to, oh, you're going to attack your neighbor, to just absolutely, hating us. I don't know why Dahomey is able to sway them so easily. Are we able to unsway? We can sway Denmark to join us, but that's nothing. I mean, And so we backed down. That was part of the reason why I took Dahomey, was I figured there was a chance for expansion. Not a lot, but I figured we could do some. But quickly seeing here that that's not the case. And at some point, one of these Europeans is going to take us out. They keep making play on nation after nation. Staying friends is helping. It's keeping us alive. We're growing. But in the long term, I think somebody is going to swallow us whole in a very short period of time. But in the meantime, we will continue to try to modernize. We will continue to try to grow our GDP and our base economy. It's time for that government administration. Actually, that's a paper mill. We need to get a government administration on the go. So one thing that has happened, at least since we passed the colonialization law, is radicals are falling off pretty rapidly. We went from nearly 200,000 down to 61,000, and it's decreasing on a pretty regular basis. So just staying out of politics for a little bit is letting a lot of the issues just go away. Standard of living, by the way, is up to 10.7. So now that we are adding things like furniture to the market, it is paying off. So the path to get out of isolationism, which is kind of our ticket forward into the world and to possibly be accepted, involves agrarianism, which requires romanticism as a tech. I still haven't done it, even though it's a simple level 1. So even though the lathe is nearly done and I was working on it, I'm going to go ahead and switch to romanticism, which is nearly spread to us anyway. So let's go ahead and get that done. It's going to be done in, it looks like, 4 to 6 months. I love that we have this strong, happy government, growing GDP 1.3 million. Literacy continues to rise. It was just under 25% a couple years ago, now at 26.7. Great hunger will time out in 10 months if we can keep it away from growing and expanding yet again. There. Okay, so we have romanticism. All right, now if we're going to get agrarianism passed, it's going to be a big move because, well, first off, the landowners, who have been in charge for a long time, don't like it. They don't want to move away from it. So we would have to get them out of the government, which means we're going to have to suppress them. And the rural folk like it, and that would definitely be good for us because they're kind of the last remaining unhappy one. The industrialists, the trade unions all like it. They're small groups. They don't have a lot of clout. So I think the first thing is we need to suppress the landowners. And that's playing with fire. They are very happy, though. So I feel like we can handle. Alright, well, I'm going to start the move by bolstering the rural folk, even though they're not terribly happy. Well, it looks like that's going to be a long, slow play. So radicals are still decreasing, but not rapidly anymore. It's mostly steady now with just kind of a slow decline. And that's partially just because the rural folk and the devout aren't terribly happy. Suddenly the landowners aren't terribly happy. Probably as we are bolstering the armed forces, I would imagine. Checking in on the market. So grain is still something that we are not producing enough compared to the demand. So we're going to want to come up with some more of that. Looks like clothing is actually something we're not even meeting demand on. Do we really want to double that? That seems like a dangerous thing to do at this stage. Groceries are now in higher demand than what we're producing. So again, that goes back to the grain. I would imagine we would be more efficient Luxury clothes do have a demand, and we don't have anything for that, as lumber's pretty neutral, so we don't want to add to that right now. But yeah, grain. So we do want to add to what we have for grain. So we have 2 millet farms there. I think we only have the one here. So we'll go ahead and expand that one. We could bring in an arts academy. That would be a first. That would definitely help with the standard of living. Wouldn't provide a great amount of money, though. But let's go ahead and get an arts academy built. I figured it was coming at some point or another. And at least it's happened in a way that I think makes a certain amount of sense. France. I'm just surprised that it's France. I figured the US, the UK, one of them would come along first, but no, France is demanding that we submit to them and become their protectorate. Now, I assume that declining could very quickly turn into them trying to conquer us. And a protectorate is not a terrible status to be in, I don't think. I think we retain a lot of autonomy, at least that way. I wonder if that would actually allow us to attack Dahomey finally. We'll find out. But we're also going to not only accept, but we're going to go ahead and call that an episode. That's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Joining the French market. Ooh. Isolationism is now over. Bye for now.